The Truther Girls.
Hi everyone, Truther Girl Sonia here. So I want to talk again about the story of Seth Rich. Now the family says they want the DC police to reveal details of their murder investigation after reports claimed he may have been the source of WikiLeaks emails. There's a whole lot of information there that has not been shared. One piece of information that they should probably make available is the surveillance footage, as they say here, the footage of the murder that police obtained from a local grocery store. The grainy video shows two people standing near Rich, a scuffle, and Rich falling to the ground. Their official narrative is that it was a robbery attempt, but maybe because he was so drunk, he fought them off. He thought he could do that. But this footage would match with the narrative that there were two people and there was a scuffle. It wouldn't exactly maybe prove it was a robbery, or maybe it would. Oh, well, probably not, because you can only see their legs. But anyway, it'd probably be good to release it. So here's the store we now know is Flagler's Market, and this is where Seth Rich was found, alive, and it's about a block from his house. So here you can see where it is in relation to his house. And here's the incident report from the police, which says that event start time was 4:20 a.m. There's like this system that picks up if there's gunshots and alerts the police. I'm not sure if it's starting from when the gunshots were flagged or for when the police arrived, but it was right around that time, 4:20. And what's interesting here is it says that one of the officers was wearing a body camera. And in other reports, you may have heard that Seth was awake and, alive, obviously, and talking with the officers. So I'm really interested to know, well, what was he saying? Because, I mean, why aren't they showing the body camera footage? I kind of understand why. But if they could at least maybe release a transcript or the audio or something, then people could know, like, what was he saying? Because I don't know about you, but if I just gotten attacked, I'd probably describe my attackers, or I'd probably say what happened. And another thing is that's probably not the only camera that would have evidence on it. Because here's a picture of the neighborhood again. And all around this neighborhood, there are actually a lot of cameras. And there's a guy who has been actually mapping out where all the cameras are. And he posted this online. I'll give you the link. And he says, why don't they look at some of these cameras? Because there could be footage on there. If they really looked at all the cameras, they should be able to find something, one would hope. So that's another thing. Here's another thing you might find interesting. This was an anonymous post on 4chan from a guy who claims to be a doctor who was working at the Washington Hospital Center when Seth Rich was brought in. And he gives a story of how, he wasn't really that badly injured and they had to do like bowel surgery on him. And, this guy supposedly, figured, well, he should be fine. He says, though, about 8 hours after he arrived, we were sworn by LEOs, law enforcement officers, and pretty much everyone except the attending and a few nurses were kicked out of the ICU. And at turnover that morning, we were instructed not to round on the VIP that came in last night. And no one except for me and another resident had any idea who he was talking about. No one was allowed to see Seth except for the attending when he died. No code was called. What can I say about this post? I mean, look, if you would believe this post, this would mean that Seth was in the hospital for 8 hours before he died. Although the official time puts his death at like an hour and 40 minutes after the police were first notified or first arrived. There's an explanation for how he could have been fine when they got there, or talking and everything, and passed away really quickly. It would have been if the bullet had hit the aorta and they had been unable to stop the bleeding. That's possible. Personally, I don't believe this post. I think 4chan is a great place for people to just, troll if they want to, or just post hoaxes. And there's a reason why I don't believe it. Like, there's no document. I mean, if somebody posted a document, that would be more believable. But as far as I'm concerned, this is really hearsay. Plus, it really doesn't match with the time of death, like the official time of death, which was 5:57. It could be like actually shills who put this kind of stuff in there on purpose, to fuel things. So anyway, let's forget about that one. Okay, so here's the last one. Seth Rich's family says Dotcom tried to hack into slain DNC staffer's email to plant fake evidence that he gave documents to WikiLeaks. But Kim.com wrote an open letter to Seth Rich's family regarding the hacking claims, which you can see here on IB Times. Basically, he says these are just false statements, and he's telling the family you should stop making them. He maintains that he has evidence that ties Seth Rich to WikiLeaks, and he says that he will share what he knows and why with the relevant authorities if the appropriate arrangements can be made. So he's like willing, if they would be willing to listen to him, he's willing to tell them. And apparently he had already given this information to his lawyer, but only to him, in order not to screw up the investigation. And as far as the whole Kim.com hacked Seth Rich's email, from what I can see, you know, Kim.com's explanation of this actually makes total sense, that this is a completely baseless accusation. That what happened was the father noticed a confirmation email from Mega.com or Mega.nz, whatever. The new name for the website that used to be Kim.com's, but for which he no longer works. Like, he's not there anymore. Somebody else is running it. And the parents see this email, and they just jump to the conclusion that Kim.com is trying to hack Seth Rich's email to plant files. But there are no files, there's no evidence that there was hacking, there's no evidence there was phishing. It's not even a phishing email where they say, like, go here and now put in your email information. That's how the phishing ones work. This was just a confirmation where you just click and it just opens your account with whatever website you signed up for. So there's no proof. It just sounds to me like they're paranoid. And actually, as Kim.com pointed out, anyone could have signed up Seth Rich's email for that website. Could have been anyone. There's no reason to think it was Kim.com. So that's where this is at right now. And pretty much everyone, you know, on both sides agrees that the investigation should be reopened, information should be released. And I'm sitting here waiting to see what happens with this Kim.com thing, because if he's got some really big information about WikiLeaks, that's going to be major. And actually I'm kind of worried about him, because how hard would it be to have something happen to him and then try to tell everybody he just died of a heart attack? They're trying to say, oh, he's just trying to make a conspiracy theory and it's malicious. And that really makes no sense, because he's actually kind of putting his life on the line. And what would Kim.com have to gain from fabricating a conspiracy theory? In fact, you know, if he's saying these things and he knows they're not true, he could then be sued for libel. So why would he do that? What, for attention? I mean, it doesn't really make any sense to me why he would just make it up. It should be pretty easy to prove or disprove. So why would he do that? So I want to know what he has to say. Anyway, that's it. That's the update. Let me know what you think. And thanks for liking and sharing this video. And thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.